Talk that shit. Talk that shit. Drop some knowledge on your ass. Talk that shit. Dive into generational knowledge. Drop some knowledge on your ass, bitch.
Welcome back to Talk That Shiet, the podcast scientifically proven to increase your IQ by at least 3 points per episode. Today's episode is brought to you by public transportation. Public transportation, I use it sometimes. I think it's great. You'll probably hear some of the Filipino public transportation outside below me today. They use a public transportation. It's pretty interesting. It's an old Jeep that they have modded into like a 15 or 20 seat bus. So they basically took these old World War II Jeeps that the U.S. left here and then stretched them out with benches and then used them as their primary mode of transportation. They call them jeepneys. So that's what's sponsoring the pod today, public transportation like that. And that's what's keeping us on the air. So
How kind of them.
What was that?
How kind of them.
Yeah, their public transportation is the reason that we're on the air. So make sure you click the link and get a ride on some type of bus or something like that this week so you can support us, because we really don't even want to do this show, nor do we need to. But we keep getting sponsors like crazy, so we're keeping it on the air because of that. So as long as you keep using the sponsors, people will keep us on the air. Now, I do want to open it up to you. Usually guests will also secure a sponsor. Were you able to secure any type of sponsors?
I secured too many. They're falling out of my pockets. I can't help it. One of them, public transportation here too. Ours is not as good. It's just a bus with a bunch of stinky people on it. And then they yell at you and try to fight you if you sit down. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. LA and the Philippines, very different types of public transportation. What's funny in the Philippines is it's not the main mode of public transportation is what they call the jeepneys, which is those modded out Jeeps that they fit. You know, they stretch them out and they put bigger benches in them, and they have these old diesel engines that somehow are always running. You'll see a lot of times like a tube from where the driver is driving, and you'll see him pouring like a gallon of water down the tube to keep the engine cool.
They're stuck in Pimp My Ride. They never left.
Yeah, it's actually, some of them look exactly like Pimp My Ride. They have neon lights and like these custom paint jobs on the outside. I'll put some videos up of some of the jeepneys over us while we're talking so people can see it. But if they haven't seen it, it is wild. It's like underglow. A lot of them have like murals of Jesus, and then next to Jesus there'll be like their favorite rapper. Like one time I saw a mural of Jesus and Mary, and then who was it? I think it was Puff Daddy.
Interesting.
And yeah, it's kind of funny. All of you know how in the US, when people get canceled or do something bad, everybody knows about it. They don't really do that here. Like if they have like Sean Kingston or something like that, if they like their song, they'll just be playing it in the mall or wherever. So even artists that are like blacklisted in the US, they pretty much, I don't think that news gets here. So yeah, they'll have Jesus and Mary next to Puff Daddy and a couple other rappers on their bus. But it's pretty crazy to see the mods that these guys are doing on their Jeeps. And also, none of it's sponsored by the government. It's basically, somebody picks a route that, like, they'll pick a loop that they have noticed there isn't like a good mode of transportation, and then they'll just paint on the side of the bus. They'll they'll paint the streets and the places that they pass by and the landmarks. So that's kind of how you get around. Like you'll look for a jeepney that says a destination that's relatively close to where you're going, and then you'll just hop on.
So you're essentially, it's the Hollywood tours, those buses where they've chopped off the top of the van and they just drive around to different places in Hollywood and they look legitimate, but it's it's never legit.
Yeah, I mean I would say it's similar. I would say that legitimacy here is a little different than it is in the US because it's not based on, who owns the bus or who it's backed by. It's just based on, does this bus get me where I need to go? If yes, I'm getting on, and that means it's legit. So,
Nice.
yeah. So that's the public transport here.
You should film that and put it on your channel.
Yeah. There's actually, because I'm in the Philippines, I think I get a lot more content about the Philippines than people in the US. But on my feed, like every day, there's like a video of like a ton of people in a Jeep, and there's people on the roof of the Jeep and holding on to the back, and it's just like everyday life here. So I get a ton of content like that already on my feed, which, because that content already exists, I haven't made it myself. But you're right, we should do more posts on public transport. I have a post on tricycles that we're gonna do. A tricycle is a motorcycle with like a hand-built sidecar, and it looks like I'll put also a video of it, but I think I've sent you some screenshots of them. It basically looks like they took a motorcycle and hand built it into a car to fit, 4 passengers. Uh,
Oh, it's okay. It's like those the ones where they would run around what were those called? Not
it's like
ramshackle.
a motorcycle with a sidecar. Like you've seen those,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, but these sidecars are built out to fit 4 people, and those are actually more comfortable for me to take than the jeepneys because it's a private ride, whereas the jeepneys, you just kind of need to read the signs and hope it's going to take you close to where you need to go. The tricycles are a little bit better because, you just tell the driver where you're going and he takes you there. And
It's kind of like a motorized rickshaw, right?
I don't know what that is. What is that?
The rickshaws where it's basically like a carriage and then there's bars that go to the front and instead of a horse you have a dude pulling it.
Yeah. It's kind of like that with, instead of a horse, it's a motorcycle. And it's
Okay.
all kind of hand welded together. Um, and even with
Hope and
that,
dreams, baby.
yeah, even with that, so in the Philippines, they're super into Fast and Furious movies and car modding. So again, with the tricycles, you're going to see a lot of the stuff you see on the jeepneys, like with chrome, everything's chromed out on some of them. They have racing seats on the sidecar. Some of them get pretty crazy, but it's kind of the same thing where it's just somebody that modded out their motorcycle to be essentially a taxi. So,
You know what I love about that? There's something that happens. I feel it happens in the US a lot where people won't do things they think is interesting or cool until they're at the perfect place. And over there, they'll have some bicycle tires and some wood and they'll chrome it out. And then people over here have a full-fledged car and they're like, "Oh, I don't want to paint it because the resale value will go down." And they don't ever really enjoy their vehicle or enjoy their whatever they have. It's an interesting
mm,
thought.
yeah. Yeah, the car racing stuff here is funny too. They, I remember at our last place that we lived in the province. It was like an hour outside of Manila, so an hour away from where we are now. But there, there was a McDonald's that was open 24 hours, and because we work nights in the US, we would a lot of times go to McDonald's for coffee at like 2 or 3 a.m. And there would be like all these old Hondas with like chromed out and all the Fast and the Furious types of gadgets on them. And they would just be sitting outside of McDonald's eating cheeseburgers, revving up their engines like crazy. And they wouldn't actually race the cars, but they would do everything that they do in Fast and the Furious except race. They would
Yeah.
be hanging out, revving their engines, showing off, different chrome things that they did to their car, their shifters, all this stuff.
I
So
like the way to you everything's just chrome.
yeah, chrome is big here. Yeah, that's one of the big ways that they mod stuff out. Just a bunch of
Uh,
chrome.
is it like legit chrome or just spray paint or?
So it depends. I think a lot of the times the guys modding out their Hondas probably don't have the means to do real chrome, but most of the people with tricycles and the jeepneys, they have like a shop that does real chrome all over their stuff. So I would say public transport has everything chromed out for real. Street mod guys, it's going to be either plastic parts sometimes, or sometimes it's real, depending on how they know. Or probably similar to the Fast and the Furious movies, who's ever
Yeah,
friends with the shop owners are going to get the best stuff.
it's the way it is.
Because you watched all those movies, right?
I watched maybe 4 or 5.
I thought being from Florida, you would have watched all of that stuff.
Uh, it. I hit a point in my life where I've stopped watching these big series movies where they're just trying to hook you and then they keep having
Yeah,
to get
yeah,
bigger
yeah.
and bigger.
Yeah, like the first 4 or 5 in the 2000s, those are kind of the core of the movies that I think most people follow here. So
Oh, I have a
that's
story for you. I went to the Fast 8 wrap party. They filmed that in Atlanta,
hmm
and they had a big party after they filmed it. And this is kind of a medium length story, but it's one of my favorite. So there was a girl who stayed with me and my roommate, and a little bit of backstory on her. She tricked us into staying with us because we worked on films together. And she came up to me and she's like, "Hey, Lisa and Brian said that if you say it's okay, me and this other girl can crash with you for a couple weeks while we're filming whatever movie this is." I was like, "Hey, yeah, that's fine. Whatever. If they said it's okay, it's okay." Then later we had to kick her out because she wasn't paying her rent. And we're all sitting in the room. It's me, Brian, and Lisa, the roommates, and they're like, "Hey, so we gotta kick Shay out. She's not paying rent." And I'm like, "Yeah, I agree." And they're like, "We think whoever invited her should have to let her know she has to leave." I'm like, "Yeah, totally." And we're all sitting there staring at each other. And they're like, "Well, that would be you." And I'm like, "No, she said that you guys said it was cool." Apparently she had come to me and told me they said it was cool and then gone to each of them and said that I said it was cool and just pretended all of us had like suggested it.
yeah.
Anyway, this
Y-
girl, we go to the Fast 8 party and Michelle Rodriguez is there. You remember Michelle Rodriguez?
No, she actor.
Yeah, she's a actor in the Fast and the Furious movies, and she's doing like some free DJing for the party,
Yeah.
right? And this Shay girl's so drunk, she goes up and tries to get her number, and she's like, "Hey, Michelle Rodriguez is coming back to our place tonight." I'm like, "No, she's not." And then she goes, "Yeah, well, look, I'll go." And she asks, she's like, "Hey, here's my number." Hands her the note, and she's like, "Yeah, thanks." And I watch her just throw it in the trash right in front of her, and she's too too drunk to notice and stuff.
Yeah,
It's a fun time, yeah.
that's funny. That was Florida.
No, that was in
Florida.
Atlanta. They
Oh,
filmed
Atlanta.
some of them in Atlanta.
Yeah, that's right. Would did you say that you did like some background work in one of those movies or something?
Not the Fast and the Furious. I worked on a lot of films. Uh, I was an FBI agent in Black Panther. Uh, just a lot of random films.
Do you
Background in a
ever
ton of them.
do you ever pause it like on yourself and then just take in that moment of seeing yourself in the movie?
Yeah. So the first movie I was in that I could do that, I was in Sharknado, Sharknado 2, and they were
Classic.
solo. Yeah, they were so low budget. They used, I want to say it was like 20 background actors for something like 60% of the movie. So you'll see me go by 4 times in one scene in different shirts. And in one scene, I went by 17 times, I think. And my grandma was like, I saw you, and then I saw you, and then I saw you. I'm like, yeah, grandma. Very
Just saw
funny.
you dipping back and
Yeah.
forth. That's
They had
funny.
me walk by with one girl and then walk back with another girl, so I just look like a serial cheater.
That's awesome. We do have another sponsor I need to mention. This is one
Okay.
that I think both of us are passionate about, but more so Joshua Jones, who owns a furniture company. So this one is furniture, and furniture I think is great. We all use it. We sit down, enjoy a drink with friends, have a great
Yeah.
time. So they reached out to sponsor the pod, and of course we agreed. So again, these are the things that are keeping us on the air. So if you click the link below, you will get 10% off your next order of furniture, whether it's just a new couch for your living room, a patio chair. I'm using a patio chair right now. I think they work quite well. So click that link, you'll get 5% off your next order, whoever you choose to get it from.
Yeah, anybody. Chairs are a great invention. Whoever came up with sitting, really big fan of him.
Exactly. So, I'll probably just, throw out a couple sponsors throughout the pod to keep us on the air. Um,
Yeah. It's
but
how we afford to eat.
exactly. So tell me a bit about, because I know furniture is something you're passionate about. Tell me a bit about what's trending right now. Are foam couches trending? Are those old wooden couches made out of tree trunks that you sit on, the kind of a more of a hard wood type of couch? I've seen those kind of trending. A little less comfy, like if you're gonna lounge and watch TV, but I've seen those in like hotel lobbies and stuff like that. Um,
Yeah.
what's trending right now?
Uh, it depends on what you call trending. There's a trend that I've noticed is budgeting. A lot of people they need new furniture, but their budget's pretty stretched thin. So you're kind of seeing the what are they called? The compression foam couches. Those are getting popular not because I think people like them, but more out of necessity
Mm-hmm.
because they're pretty inexpensive. You're seeing a lot of these uh, little modular couches from China. Those are getting pretty popular. You can get those for a decent price. People are kind of jumping on the IKEA bandwagon and making things that ship to you at an affordable price, and then you have to assemble it. So, but in the less affordable design world, it's a lot of tufting. You're seeing a lot of low back couches.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen? You know what the low
Yeah.
back couches are? Yeah.
Is it that type of couch that like the back piece of it is quite small, like the backrest
So
of it?
yeah, the back is going to be pretty low, but they usually have a leg that's about that big, 2 inches or so, and it's usually going to be an Italian design. Something that I didn't know until I got into furniture design. You know how they say everything comes back into
Mm-hmm.
style? A lot of the reason that is because the patents or the copyrights expire. So you'll have something that's an Italian design in the 70s and it was patented so no one could make it and then the rights for it expire and then other people can make it.
Really? Okay. So as far as like price point of that kind of stuff, is that like a kind of a luxury price point, or is this more general consumer priced?
It depends on what features you want. So there's some really high end there Italian design furniture, uh like BB Italia. They
Mm-hmm.
have they have things 20,000 plus for a couch. and it'll have all the removable pieces and you can adjust it. Uh, I'm not going to talk about that brand specifically, but in general, I think these $20,000 couches, I think they're a bit of a waste of money. I think you can get something pretty high quality for around probably 2 to 5 thousand. That's the sweet part, the sweet point where you're going to have, it's going to last a decent amount of time and be a good quality and look nice.
Yeah.
And it's going to have some features that, like, the fabric's going to last a pretty long time. When you get under the $2,000 range, your choices get a little slimmer, which is fine if you like the choices that you have. Like IKEA has a bunch of stuff that's around 2,000 or less. But they're going to have just the wooden legs and, a cushion on it or something a lot of the time. So depends on what you're looking for. I would say the stuff on Costa Foundry is like 2 to 3,500. So you can get a pretty large couch, 3,000, something like that.
Yeah. So, what about like budget furniture for, I would say like the average, 20 to 30-year-old that probably isn't going to spend 3K on a couch, but also wants a nice couch. What's the best route for that? Like, probably buying used, am I right? Like on Facebook Marketplace in LA, probably get like a used couch, spend 1,000 that is worth 5,000 versus getting a brand new couch that's worth 1,000 and only lasts like a year and it's not comfortable.
That's possible. It depends on what size you're looking at. So a common size is 120 inches. That's like a 3-seater, maybe a 4-seater. And then you have like 120 inches with an L shape, so it has like a chaise on it. Um, I'll give you some comparisons. So if you go to Beverly Hills, you're going to be looking for a 120 inch, probably like that 3,000 range that we were talking about. Casa Foundry, we have it for like 1,500. And then if you want to go in the marketplace, maybe you can get it 1,000. Maybe you can get it 500. Uh, People are not reselling great couches a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Uh,
They,
I'm not a fan of buying a used couch. It's something you put your face on a lot, and you can get it professionally clean, but that's usually going to run you 200, 300. So
Now I
depends on
will
how much
say
work you want to put into
this. I feel like when I was in LA and we were looking at couches, all the couches would say like barely used. And the first thing I would think is, how is a couch barely used? Because you buy a couch to sit on it. So a
it. Yeah.
barely used couch really means it probably got a solid 10 hours to 20 hours a week of people just sitting on it.
Yeah, you run into a couple situations where that will be a legitimate barely used couch. Uh, Unfortunately, it's not usually the situations you want. Um, the best situation that you would want is there's somebody rich in the hills and they have like a retirement home they don't go to or a summer home or something in the hills. And then they don't ever use that couch or they have like a guest room that couch is sat in. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
that would be a great used couch to get. But usually the people that have that kind of money, they don't waste their time on OfferUp or Facebook Marketplace. They're like, they would rather spend $200 to have someone remove it than to give it away for free. So,
Yeah. That's the problem, I would say, is, you have this, I would say it's a growing gap of middle class, wealthy, and poor. So you have
for
people
sure.
that can barely like afford just a foam couch. And then you have people that can buy a $10,000 couch and then just pay somebody to get rid of it. So it kind of leaves the normal people in a spot where they can't really get a great new couch. They also can't get a good used couch. So we're all settling for really whatever we can muster up that week in our paychecks.
So there's actually kind of a secret to that. And there's a reason behind it. all of the manufacturing processes we have in the USA, we're kind of losing them. They're being outsourced overseas. So you can get couches that are made in America. A lot of the time, they will be parts that are sourced from China or something like that. Maybe South America, they'll send some wood over or something. But then what you run into is everybody's trying to make new companies. So they're getting manufacturers from China because that's the first step that you can usually afford. And the real way to get a good couch is you find a manufacturer or you find a brand that is using a Chinese manufacturer, but it's a quality manufacturer that also makes couches for like RH or some famous brand. Because these brands, they all get them from the same spot a lot of the time. So you'll have a Chinese manufacturer that used to work for a $20,000 company, and now they sell their couches to anyone who will buy them. And it's the same quality, but it just doesn't have that sticker on it. And you can get a $1,000, $1,500 couch like that.
Yeah. Okay,
It's
that
hard to
makes
find though.
sense. Yeah. So composting toilets. So these things, we've started to see them probably around a little bit more. Do you have any knowledge on composting toilets or anything like that?
Yeah, I do. We called those holes in the ground. That's what we used to call them.
In Florida, the Florida days.
Yeah, Alabama too.
Why I brought up composting toilets is it's a trending topic right now. Um, very popular. People are starting to see the benefit of it. Because think about a toilet. You just have this nice big bowl of clean water, and then you just, you know, go dump in it, shit in it, and then it just goes into the ocean. In some places, in LA, I think it went into the ocean if it rained too much.
On
So
purpose too.
on purpose, exactly. So composting toilets. Last last pod episode, Joe was telling me about this. He lived in a van for 2 months with his friend, and they
Hmm.
shit in this toilet for 2 months. Two people, two grown men, with no running water. And he told me after 2 months, he was like mustering up the courage to go and empty it out. And he got like big rubber gloves and a hazmat suit basically to, venture into this toilet and swap out the stuff. And mind you, the toilet is in the van. So they were shitting in a toilet in the van for 2 months. And he opens the thing up and it just looked like potting soil because it didn't smell. He said you can like go and put it in your garden, dump it outside. It just looks like normal dirt. And
How big was this toilet?
um, so I didn't ask him how big the toilet was. I'm not sure how big it was, to be honest.
It's going to take a big toilet to last 2 months without changing.
So the interesting thing is he told me that there's like this foam detergent that you put in there and it kind of just eats up all of the shit, and I don't know how it does it, but that's what he told me. So I think that we're going to start seeing maybe this technology being integrated into, most certainly integrated into, people living in vans, but also into public restrooms. So something to think about.
I think that technology is going to be great for some people that know how to read. And then I think a lot of people are going to struggle because these composting toilets, it's similar to a septic tank, I think, where you can't put certain things in it. And they're going to mess up this composting toilet. And it will be that terror that Joe was afraid of.
Yeah.
Like you can't flush certain things in a septic tank.
Well, no. And so yeah, there probably would need to be some education there. on only human excrement can go inside of the toilet. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, I guess that could potentially be something that we start to hear about more, because I thought it was pretty interesting.
That would be good for the environment if we could figure out how to stop putting poop in the water.
Yeah,
Maybe
and it
not so
just
much for the environment, more for us.
turns into soil that stuff grows in. Now he did tell me that you're not supposed to put it in like your vegetable garden for food that you're going to actually eat. So that could be concerning if you just get all this dirt in the world that you can't grow plants in because that could potentially cause a problem.
So you put it in the gardens for food that you can eat. That's my
Yep.
favorite kind of food. I
Um,
guess you just put it around trees and stuff, huh?
yeah, I mean, he told me he just dumped it like in the grass, but
Some dude's in his yard like this dog. Biggest dog pile I've ever seen.
so karaoke, do they still have a lot of karaoke stuff happening in LA? Did like the karaoke clubs? I don't know. Did you ever venture? I lived in Koreatown, and you and I went to a karaoke club once for my birthday. Um,
Yeah.
but where I lived, there were like 6 different karaoke clubs, all within 2 or 3 minute walk. Um, is that scene? Do they have that kind of a scene where you are in the Hollywood area, or is that more of a Koreatown thing?
No, there's no scene here for karaoke. I think
Okay.
that's more of a Koreatown thing.
And
Hollywood's weird. Did you go to Hollywood much when you were here?
I walked up in Griffith Park a lot and looked at the views and looked at the Hollywood sign because those were pretty
But you
nice
didn't go to
trails.
like the city part of it at all, huh?
Yeah. Do you get to Griffith Park and do some hikes and stuff every once in a while?
I used to. I lived right under it before, so Larry and I would walk up the hill and just go to it.
Mm-hmm.
And now I just walk up. I live under the Hollywood sign now, so I just walk up there. It's pretty as well. Um, but yeah, Hollywood, the city area, it looks beautiful from the TV, but the area in person is a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I've actually gotten a couple viral videos lately from that.
Just walking
Um,
around and
yeah, one of them, this one didn't really go viral, but I'm trying to point out stuff in LA that needs to be changed. And one of the things I want to be changed, I was walking down the street and there's this bridge that I have to go under to go to the gym. My gym's half a mile away from my house, so it's super close.
mm-hmm.
And under the bridge, it'll be empty one day, and the next day there's literally 10 tents. And there were 5 or 6 bottles of not composting toilets, just urine and feces. And I made a video about like, hey, LA, we're the Gavin Newsom's always saying that we're the richest state in the country, and we can't even manage to not have bottles of pee on the sidewalk. This is crazy. I got so many hate comments for it. It was crazy. And then another one I did, I went down the street and there was some construction guy had cut down a bunch of branches and he laid it out on the street in the shape of a car to hold a parking space. And he's doing this shit all the time. So I finally just cleaned it up and put it on the sidewalk because no one can park anymore. There's no park. You've been in LA. There's no parking spots.
Yeah.
And anyway, yeah. So the karaoke scene's not good. But yeah, no, there's no karaoke.
In the Philippines, the karaoke scene is pretty popular.
Yeah.
Usually, so a lot of bars will have karaoke, but where it's most
Hmm.
popular is just in the neighbor's house, and they'll be playing like usually when we wake up in the morning, the first thing we wake up to is a karaoke song coming from the neighbor's house, or you'll just hear karaoke like all night long when you're trying to sleep. And that's more in the province, because now we're in the city and we have an apartment with soundproof windows and stuff. But the karaoke scene in the Philippines is just
It's big.
rampant. And a
I
lot of
heard that if you go to the Philippines, there will be someone that speaks hardly any English, and then they do karaoke, and they sing the most beautiful English.
yeah, they do. They're actually the best English speaking country in all of Asia. That's a fact.
Yeah,
Other Asian countries come here to learn English. Like
interesting.
it's a big thing for Koreans to come here and learn English, especially in Korea, especially in like I would say the wealthier, some of the wealthier people will come to Philippines to learn English just because um, the classes are cheaper here. So a lot of times, and the classes are cheaper, but also Filipinos are very good at speaking English, so they can learn English while here, and due to exchange rates, they can usually pay a little bit less. So yes,
Is it the same for dental and medical and stuff? Like if you had, let's say you had to get a dental procedure done and it cost $3,000 here, what do you think it would be? Like you needed implants or something.
that I don't think so, but I don't know. But I know that there are countries that specialize in something, like Turkey, for instance, specializes in hair transplants,
Yeah.
and you can get like a transplant in Turkey. I've known my friend had a cousin that was balding, and he went to Turkey because it was going to cost a lot to do it in the US, and he could go to Turkey and do it for a tenth of the price. So I haven't heard of the Philippines being known for any specific medical procedure that people come here for, but I also haven't researched that. But I haven't heard of it, to answer the
Hmm.
question. But English,
I
yes.
got a buddy that,
Oh, um, I was just gonna say that English, yes, Filipinos are very good at English, and a lot of other Asians come here specifically to learn English.
interesting. It's interesting they would go somewhere that isn't English speaking to learn English. Like not to the Philippines, but like an English native language.
Yeah, it's because Philippines is centrally located, so that they can fly here for a lot less than they could fly to Europe or the US. And
Mhm.
also, it's kind of a thing of the currency exchange rates. For instance, Korea, they're more of first world country,
Yeah.
and they're very, very developed. So people from Korea can come in the Philippines and live like a king, kind of similar to how people from the US can come to the Philippines, and their money will go a lot farther.
Mhm.
So those are the reasons that it's popular. It's because number one, they're good at English, and number two, your money can go a lot farther here.
You know it's going to be funny. There's this thing that we see in America. So there are Asian girls that grow up in Louisiana and they make these Instagram channels, but they have a Louisiana accent. They're like first generation here. And it's so funny because the accent coming from them, you just don't expect it. So that means that soon we're going to have a bunch of Korean people come over that
Hmm.
they sound just like they're from the Philippines, and it's going to be a little bit of a confusion.
Yeah, that's funny. Um, Speaking of different countries, did you know the strongest passport in the world is Singapore? Their passport is
Really?
stronger than the US, stronger than any European country. For some reason, it's the strongest in the world. And you know where the
So what do you
US
mean by
falls?
strongest?
The strongest passport focuses strictly and this is from Google. It says, strongest passport focuses strictly on mobility and the passport power rank. This ranking is frequently topped by the United Arab Emirates alongside
Yeah.
top European nations. So it's about the strength of the passport. It's about where you can go with it without needing, travel visas. It's just you want to go to this country and you can go without any restrictions. The U.S. isn't even on the list of the top 10. U.S. has still a strong passport, but when compared to the world ranking, not doing very good.
Interesting. Oh, Japan's up there. France is up there. Norway, the Netherlands, Finland, all of the Scandinavian countries. That's interesting.
Okay, so
You know what the U.S. passport does do, though?
yeah, what does that do?
The U.S. passport does something that other passports don't. If you get taken hostage, they get a little more scared about it. Or if they accidentally kill an American, sometimes the United States military goes and messes with stuff. So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
that
no,
is
I
one thing
think.
it does.
Oh, I think it's interesting because the U.S. passport, kind of the reputation around the U.S. passport, from what I've seen in the Philippines, is that a lot of Filipinos would say that the U.S. passport, they would see it as the best passport. Um, and I think for some reason, um, the U.S., I think I'll say this. I think being from the U.S., there are other countries that maybe I'm not quite as proud. For instance, in Germany, we went to Germany last year. We didn't get a lot of people actually, when they would hear my voice or know that we're from the U.S., they could probably tell just based on my accent. They would tell us that the restaurant is full. So
Oh,
a lot of countries don't like people from the U.S. I think more so in the European countries, but in the Philippines, being from the U.S. is it's pretty fun because Filipinos generally love Americans and they love American culture. And I will say I've probably never felt more proud to be an American than when I'm in the Philippines. Like
yeah.
it's just it's like a great thing. Like we went to a shop last week to get some work done on our car, and there were U.S. flags in the shop right next to the Filipino flags, and all the walls were just decked out with U.S. flags, and that's kind of the welcoming feeling that I have everywhere in the Philippines. So I will say I'm proud to be an American. It was something that surprised me to learn that the U.S. passport was ranked at 37 and the strongest passports in the world.
I'm seeing a lot of these that show it as pretty high. Maybe it has something to do with the current, maybe it's like a current thing because of the turmoil going on everywhere. There's probably places that have not allowed Americans in currently.
Yeah, so I'm seeing U.S. passport. There are 37 countries that outrank the U.S. passport.
Mm. So in
What were you
recent
seeing?
years, I'm looking at I look at images because it'll show you like some from a couple years previously. It's like 20, let me see, is this, we're up at number 8 or something in 2024. 2018 to 2024, we seem to be in the top 10. We're not number 1, but
Mm-hmm.
I think currently we're having some issues because of what's going on in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Um, my mom just got back from the UK. They were all
Uh-huh.
buying her drinks because they love Americans there.
That's interesting. Really, she went to a pub They're notorious for the pub
Yeah.
scene in the UK.
So I think what it is, we've been the global superpower for a while, and it's the same way that there will be, let's say in the UFC, there's a number one spot. Half the people are going to absolutely love the number one spot, and half the people are going to absolutely hate him. And they're going to be like, "Oh, he's overrated, he's crap, whatever." And then some people will be like, "Have you seen his wrestling game? It's so good." So I think in the world, we're pretty polarizing. Either we're somebody that the countries love, because like in the Philippines, I think we've assisted them a lot and we've been good allies with them, and they've assisted us with some stuff. So I think we have a good relationship. They love us probably, right? And it's the same in South Korea. I have some South Korean friends that have come over here, and they said a lot of South Korean people will just want to take a photo with a USA passport. Like I had my passport in my room. Someone came in and like, "Do you know what people would do for this passport?" And they were losing their minds just because it was there. It's interesting.
So we went to South Korea, and people didn't necessarily hate us,
Hmm.
but we definitely weren't welcome in a lot of places. Like there were restaurants that were completely empty, and people told us we needed a reservation.
Hmm.
Um, so in
Interesting.
yeah, so I would be surprised if, I mean, they might think the passport is cool if you just show your passport, but that was definitely not the experience we got in 2025 in South
Did you have
Korea.
Gucci with you?
No. The times that we went out to eat, we did not have Gucci with us. However, Korea loves dogs probably more than the US. Definitely the
Yeah.
most pet-friendly country we've been to. They love white dogs, Bichuns, Maltipoos. I don't know what it is
Hmm.
about the small white dogs they like, but they're obsessed with them. They'll have like portraits of little Maltipoos or Bichon poodles, fluffy white dogs. They're obsessed with them. They have pictures of them everywhere. Um, Pet-friendly places and pet-friendly airplanes will usually have a picture of a white fluffy dog to show that they're pet-friendly. Um,
Mm.
that's kind of their universal sign of
Interesting.
pet-friendly. But yeah, they're
Just a
very, very
picture of a
pet
dog.
friendly. Yep. We flew with Gucci on planes for free. They don't charge anything. Not all the airlines, but a lot of them don't charge for small dogs as long as they can fit under the seat. So they're obsessed with dogs.
You're just kicking the dog under the seat.
Yeah, that's
Quick,
really
come
what it's
out.
like. Yeah, exactly what it's like. You just push them under the seat so long as they fit and aren't loud. People are generally pretty happy.
That's
So I
funny.
don't think it was Gucci. Well, it definitely wasn't Gucci because they're pet friendly, and most of the restaurants we just left them at the apartment. Now we take them everywhere and we call ahead of time, but that's in the Philippines. It's a little bit easier because Dana speaks Tagalog, and
Mhm.
um, we can call ahead of time and make sure places are pet friendly.
I wonder what it is. I wonder why they're saying they don't have reservations. It's so strange.
Well, there's a combination of two things. Number one, I don't. Some people would call it um, a tourist tax or an English tax,
Yeah.
or I've heard it called the white tax. Um,
Yeah.
but that just means, especially in Japan, I've heard this, and I think it's the same in Korea, where they're pretty proud of, their nation. They kind of have the same mentality as the US. Like I think a lot of people in the US go, "Oh, I don't want you to learn how to speak Spanish to assist somebody coming to the restaurant." Or
Yeah.
I speak English, so I'm only going to speak English. It was a lot like that in Korea too. Even if people knew a little bit of English, they wouldn't talk to you in English. They would talk to you in Korean, and
Hmm.
they didn't want to deal with having any type of language barrier. So they would see us, that we speak English and we're American, and they would just say, "Oh, you have to make a reservation, and we're fully booked." And they'll say that, and you'll see the restaurant is pretty much empty, um, because they don't want to deal with it. So I think that's the reasons.
I wonder what percent of them do you think would have done it if you were British, Australian, any other Western style culture? Like it didn't matter that you were American, it just mattered that you weren't Korean.
I think a lot. I think
Yeah.
Koreans are probably, and I shouldn't say Koreans in general because it's not all Koreans, but I think some are a little bit like that, where if it's not about anything other than you don't speak Korean and I don't want to deal
You know,
with,
like tourists.
I don't want to deal with you in my restaurant. I think it's a little bit of that New York mentality where people are just
Uh,
like, you know, they don't need you.
that's funny. Okay, that makes sense.
But
Yeah, I try to keep a positive outlook on stuff like that because I feel like people try to make Americans feel ashamed for being American a lot. Especially in the US, the left media does that. Like, why are you proud to be here? These things happened in the past. And you got to have some pride in your nation and you got to have some pride in the place you live. So I try to always take the stuff they say with a grain of salt. Like the experiences I have over there or somewhere else, I have the same experiences here sometimes. And probably not because they hate Americans. It's just because they're a butthole or something. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
But it is interesting. Tourist is hard being a tourist sometimes.
yeah. So far in the Philippines that we haven't had any experiences that made it hard to be a tourist, which is part of the reason it's been easy to live here. But also, Dana's Filipino and she was born here. She's she lived in the U.S. most of her life, but um, I think that makes it easier just that she knows a little bit more about the customs here. So,
Yeah, you were saying that when you go shopping, she has to do all the purchasing, right?
did I say that? I don't remember saying. Wait,
Because because
what do you mean?
she they'll change the price if you buy it, so she
Oh,
has to do the negotiating.
it depends. So that's at the markets. So
Yeah,
at the markets, there's not a price on most of the
yeah,
vegetables and fish and meat that they're selling. So you go up and you ask how much per kilo. And
yeah,
yeah, a lot of them will charge more if I ask or if I'm present
yeah,
because I mean in a way I think that it's fair. Like Filipinos work really very hard and they have a daily wage here of like $10 or less per day.
hmm
So when an American comes here and they know that average American salary is probably, 120 times what they make in a week, um, it's probably easy for them to want to upcharge you just because they know you
They're
have
just hustling.
much, much more. And
Yeah,
it's not even that they're hustling. Like it's probably that they have 6 kids and
mhm.
they're trying to provide for large families, and it's more out of necessity than anything. But
Yeah, I'm fine with that. It's part of the game. You go to these markets and you negotiate, and you got to be good at negotiating. I just think it's really I like to imagine people watching you and Dana walk around are probably like, "Why is this white guy stalking this girl?" Because you're like 20 yards back from her and she's going to buy stuff.
yeah, yeah, that's actually happened. I've told Dana to lead the way and I'll follow like 20 feet behind.
That's funny.
Yeah,
You're texting her, "Hey, I want that hat. Get the hat."
yeah. Um, yeah, that's the market scene. And it's fun. I started to go to the market frequently, um, and just get mangoes every day or bananas every day. And I kind of built a repertoire with the sellers, and they would give me the same prices as Dana's family. I remember one of them actually was giving me a better deal on mangoes than Dana's aunt would get when she would get a
Oh,
kilo. So, it goes both ways. It's kind of like respectful, like I was always respectful and always grateful to have somebody to get produce from, and in return, they would show me some appreciation by giving me a good price. So I think it goes both ways for sure.
I've always enjoyed those types of bartering situations. We got Santee Alley out here. Did you ever go to Santee Alley?
Yeah, the place with a bunch of discount clothing and knockoffs and dupes.
Yeah, I like to
Yeah,
go
that's
there and
fun.
negotiate with them. It's fun.
Yeah, you got a nice leather jacket from there. I remember.
I don't think I got a leather jacket. Did I?
I remember you told me you were gonna go with Zoe. You're like, I'm gonna go with Zoe to Santee Alley, try to get a leather jacket. I don't think you
Oh,
found
she
one.
ended up. No, she got me one for my birthday before we went.
Okay, so you didn't go.
Yeah,
How are
we
you
didn't
guys?
end up going.
How are you guys doing, by the way? How's
We're doing
how,
well.
how's relationship life?
It's going really well. We're doing as good as I could hope that we could do. Um, we're pretty happy. We cook a lot together. We go to the gym. We enjoy doing all kinds of activities together. Um, we're talking about moving out of California soon, though. Um, it's just living here has been interesting, but I miss living somewhere where people are nice to you. Uh, not finding a ton of hospitality in California,
Mm,
and the safety's really low. The gun laws are kind of weird, so we're looking at Florida, Tennessee, Texas. We might move near my family for a year or two.
yeah.
Uh, but she's kind of nervous. So she's nervous that if we move to an area that she considers redneck, she's like, are they going to treat me nice? Or are they going to be racist towards me?
Mm-hmm.
And trying to explain to her that they mostly just don't care. There's going to be some weirdos out there that care, but most of them don't. So
Yeah. So what state are you thinking about moving to again?
ideally, I would like to get some land in Tennessee and get a decent amount of acres that have trees all around. That way, even if they start developing, I don't have to listen to my neighbors if I don't want to.
Oh, so you're going rural, big time rural.
Yeah, but the goal is not to be stuck big time rural. It's an option, right?
Mm,
I don't want to move out there and then have no money to ever move back to a city if I want. So we'll probably move to a city in maybe Texas or Florida first,
yeah.
work there for a year or two, save up some money, and then get some land. Um, I think that I think there's a bubble that's about to pop with the land.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to save up as much as we can now to get a decent chunk of land when it pops. That's the
Popping.
goal.
Yeah, we looked
Yeah.
at because Dan is a dual citizen, so you can't buy land in the Philippines unless you are Filipino and you're like born in the Philippines, Filipino citizen. So luckily, Dana actually has a dual passport. Um, so we could buy land in the Philippines, and we've been looking at it. Um, but it's pretty. The options here are pretty awesome because you can get like beachfront property or like a pretty nice house for a very reasonable price. So that's probably something that we'll look at probably after our wedding once we have that financial part of our life done. But that'll be kind of the next thing we're going to look at. And then the goal is to kind of turn it into a resort so we can get, have a residence that's also making money and we can hire some people to upkeep the property.
The classic American move.
I mean, that's always been,
You're
that's,
Rosaritoing.
that's been Dana's dream.
Yeah.
Um, and a lot of times Dana has these great visions and dreams that I get on board with because they sound awesome to me. Like living in the Philippines was Dana's idea. So a lot of times when she has an idea, I'll just go full in and support it because I also think it's a great idea. And that's one of the
That's
ideas that
good.
she's had for years. It does sound a little bit American, let's go to a nice nature place and put some bulldozers in there and build a resort. But it's not really like that. That's not kind of the idea that we're more so having. We're thinking to keep it, you know, I mean, I guess it would be nice to just have a massive resort that's like huge, but
Yeah.
that's not what we're really going to do. We're going to do something smaller, something that's not going to just destroy the landscape of wherever we put it.
5 years from now, your resort's successful, and I see on your Instagram story bulldozers just coming in.
Just coming
The
in.
neighbors are like, "My land."
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that happens. There's like a lot of research that needs to be done when you buy land, because sometimes a family member will sell a piece of land and there'll be other families still living there. And then the new people will come in and there'll be people living, um, and you can't really kick locals out of their own house. So you have that kind of a dilemma. So
Yeah.
that's why we're really taking that decision slow. But we were almost going to buy a piece of land it was 20K. It was about an acre. And it was awesome. It's a little bit sad too, because it was a pineapple farm. And so you saw all these pineapples that they're probably local people that were growing pineapples and selling them and making a living. And then it's in a very desirable place in the Philippines. It's in a city called Tagaytay, which is in the mountains, and it's a lot colder. It's right next to a big lake. So a lot of people want to get property there because it's cold and it's scenic views and it's nice. But anyways, we were about to buy this plot of land that was an old pineapple farm, and we went to go meet with the sellers, and their selling station was like a mobile home that looked like it got put up a couple days ago, and it looked like they had built it that way so that they could hightail it out of there when they needed to.
Yeah.
And so we didn't buy it. But it was funny because Dana had another family member who bought land there, and that's why they told us to buy land, because they bought it and they said it was legit. But hopefully it's legit, but we just didn't want to take that risk right now.
Yeah, it's difficult especially for you in a foreign country. It's difficult because the laws are complicated, and it's difficult to even try to understand the laws because you have to get some kind of translated version of it and then hope that people are telling you the right thing. It's probably a little easier for Dana, but I would be so nervous buying anything of consequence in another country.
Yeah.
You get scammed so easy.
Yeah. Do you still do a stand-up comedy, or do you have friends that do stand-up? A couple years ago, you took me to an open mic and you had a couple buddies doing stand-up there.
I've thought about getting back into it. I do comedy on YouTube now sometimes. I'll just make little bits or something. I think stand-up's fun. I'd like to do it some more. I just don't do it right now.
Yeah. I used to do stand-up comedy, and I was scrolling through my notes app on my iPhone. I don't know if yours is like this, but
I do
mine
the
has,
same thing.
yeah, and is yours like a mess? It has like thousands of old notes in there that even just like a random thought, you put it in there, and then you have like
Yeah.
just tons of stuff in there.
And then you go through and delete it, but you have to read all the notes to make sure they're not actually important.
Yeah, I mean,
And you're going through
yeah,
what's up?
I've skipped that stage of deleting notes because I don't want to spend that time. I just use the search bar, and if there's an important note, I'll search it and it'll always come up. So that's why mine's such a mess, is I never go through and delete anything because I don't want to go and figure out what's important.
I do it about once a year. I'll go
Okay.
through because I'm writing a couple books right now, and they're going to take years, but I put stuff in my notes sometimes. And then I'll forget to transfer it over to the app I have for my book writing thing.
Yeah.
Or I'll write like a stand-up joke or something, and
Hmm.
the title will be stand-up skit or joke, and then it'll just at the time it made sense, but
Yeah.
it'll be like iguana eats a mango. And what was this joke that I had? Or it'll be a dream I had and I wrote it down and it makes no sense now.
Yeah. So this, I was looking through my notes and I found this one. I wrote this back in like 2019 when I was doing stand-up comedy in Chicago at the Second City. I just would write all these jokes, and I read through this and I thought it was funny, so I'm going to read it out loud
I
to
didn't
you.
know you lived in Chicago.
I lived in Milwaukee, which is next to Chicago, and then I would take
Okay.
the train into Chicago. It's like an hour train ride. So that's kind of actually the nice thing about living in Wisconsin is you have overall a pretty nice environment, a lot of lakes and nature, and then you also have Milwaukee, major city, and then one of the biggest cities in the country, Chicago, that's an hour train ride away. So this was
Chirac.
yeah, I heard that. That's on the south side of Chicago. This was the joke I had here. So this was a joke on adoption. Here it is. People always say adoption is complicated. I don't think it is. Like if I want a donut, I don't go and try to make a donut in the kitchen. I go to a bakery and buy one.
Nice.
So
That's pretty good.
I kind of think adoption is similar. You know, for instance, if I want, let's say I want my son to be a basketball player. Now genetically, I'm not making that happen. My kid's probably going to be like an assistant manager of a Best Buy. But if, we're doing adoption, now we're shopping with options. We have height, athleticism, wingspan, all that stuff I can look for. I could basically be running a tiny NBA draft machine. You know what I mean? And honestly, it's a win-win because I get an athlete and they get a dad.
Oh man.
So that joke had I was going for a bit of a risky ending there that either could get, depending on the crowd, especially, if you're doing that joke in Chirac, but
Yeah.
that was one of the jokes I read through the other day.
Your joke reminds me of when I was in Florida and I was doing the stand-up stuff. There's this guy at one of the open mics I went to, and apparently he was a regular. And people were coming up like, "Hey, I hope your set goes well tonight," stuff like that. He brought his family to see his stand-up routine for the first time, and he goes up there and starts bombing. And I don't know what possessed this guy, but it was like a TV show. He's holding the mic and he starts sweating and he looks out the crowd and he goes, "What about those Jews?" Like no joke, he actually says. Everyone in the crowd is just like, "Oh," and I look back at his family and his family's in shock, and he just starts going in. And this is around the time Kanye West and Mel Gibson were getting in trouble on social media and everything,
Yeah.
and in the news. He bombed. He didn't just like it would have been better if he just hit the side of the mountain and exploded all at once. But he like skipped off the mountain, ground his face all over the rocks. It was so bad.
That was bad.
He like panicked and made it worse.
Yeah.
Uh, I have a video of it somewhere because we recorded it.
Yeah. I feel like that's one of those things that, like, if you're Jewish, you can make Jew jokes, or if you're a very well-established comedian. But
Yeah.
if he wasn't Jewish or not a well-established comedian, it's definitely a no-go zone.
Yeah.
Was he Jewish though?
I don't know.
But you just
He
know
can
that it
claim to
didn't
be.
work. It did not work at all. That's
Well,
funny.
the problem was he didn't even actually make a joke. He just said, "What about those?"
Yeah.
It got really dark really quick.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's funny. Okay, here's my other
man.
joke. My religious joke.
All right, I'm ready
Jesus
for it.
Jesus had 12 followers and somehow 0 friends. That's the whole joke.
All right. That one's pretty rough.
So that one was the joke, and then I actually pasted that in ChatGPT to see if they could develop it. And this is how
Yeah.
this is how ChatGPT developed that joke. Because when I wrote these jokes, ChatGPT wasn't around. So I thought, let me type that one in ChatGPT. Jesus had 12 followers and somehow 0 friends. That's a tough ratio. I told that joke to a Christian once, and he got furious. He said, if you talk like that about Jesus again, I'm going to punch you in the face. You know what I did? Turned the other cheek.
ChatGPT's trying, man.
Yeah.
There's a nucleus of a good joke in that, though.
Yeah. I think
There's something there.
I never got into the stand-up scene big enough to the point where I would develop jokes. So I remember I would usually do jokes and invite my parents. They would come and they would laugh at every joke, especially my dad, even if it wasn't funny. But then when I started going to Chicago and doing more jokes, I got kind of to the point where I was like, probably could have got good at it, but I just honestly lost interest in it and stopped doing it. So most of my jokes, I didn't run through crowds, but that's kind of the goal, I think, with stand-up comedians is they'll go write these jokes that aren't really that funny, like the one I just read to you, and then there might be a nucleus of a good joke, and then they'll just develop it and make it something good. So
Yeah,
that's
they'll
kind
do
of
a hundred versions of it.
yeah, that's kind of the
I
stand-up
have.
stage I never did.
I want to get to. So I want to do stand up still, but my sense of humor has changed a lot from when I first started it. Do you know who Norm Macdonald is?
Yeah, yeah, he's funny.
I
He's SNL, Adam Sandler movies, had a podcast too, a radio
I
station or
think
something.
I'm gonna lean into that type of not. I'm not gonna be Norm Macdonald,
Just
but I want to lean into.
dry, witty, smart
No, I want
humor.
to make jokes that are just for me, and they might not be dry and witty, but I'm gonna make some jokes that the rest of the crowd doesn't get, and they start cringing for me, but I'm enjoying watching them cringe because they're having like secondhand embarrassment, but it doesn't
Mm,
affect me at all. And I just watch it and really lean into being awkward. I want to make some that are for me to laugh and then go up and everyone thinks I'm doing stand up comedy because I want to be liked, but I'm actually doing it because I want to see their faces and see how much I can make them cringe.
yeah. So we do have another sponsor, shoelaces. You've all used them. Everybody has, I'm sure, learned how to tie their shoes as a kid. They keep your shoes on your feet. They're what keeps us on the air. If you click, we'll put a link as well. If you need a pair of them, order them. Use our code Talk That Shit with Jake and Joshua, something like that. We'll put the exact hashtag. But get your shoelaces, keep us on the air. Because again, we're not doing this for us, right, Jay? You have other stuff you could do. I have other stuff I could do.
Yeah.
This is for the people. This is how we give back, and shoelaces allow us to do that.
Do you know Mark Wahlberg invented shoelaces?
I did not.
Yeah.
Marky Mark in the Funky Bunch
Yeah.
of
Yeah. He made
shoelaces.
them.
Um,
Just
also,
sandals before that.
just sandals. And the thing about it is, we're seeing a lot of. I wear them. I wear flip flops a lot. I wear sandals. I'm a white guy. That's the kind of stuff that we wear.
Yeah.
I'm a white guy in a tropical country, so I've kind of ditched shoelaces in general. And I know a lot of people are probably moving in that direction, but if you want to support the pod, I do recommend just getting a pair of shoes that need laces so that you can keep us on the air. Even though I don't really use them myself. How about you? Are you a shoe guy now? Are you a sandal guy? Are you shoes without laces, Velcro, the Velcros?
I actually have a couple pair of shoes I wear because I'm a big baller. One of them is those slip-on ones. They're kind of elasticy in the back. I wear those if I want to be kind of a little bit above casual, but not actually dressy because they kind of
Yeah.
look like dress shoes. They're comfortable. And then I just bought a new pair of shoes that have the wide toe box because my toes were starting to hurt. So now it looks like I have
Mm,
clown toes.
you got to do some foot baths now. Soak
Yeah, I've
those
got the little
babies.
thing you attach that stretches your toe too. I'll do that in the
I
bath.
I can't believe that's actually a real thing that you have on your feet.
Why?
I've just never heard of that before.
Yeah, so what happens over time, the shoe will push your toe in, and I started getting plantar fasciitis, and it feels like you're getting glass in your foot. So I'm trying
Oh.
to put it back into place. Yeah.
So why were you buying shoes that were too small?
It's a combination of things. I had when I first came to LA to visit, I got tendonitis in my toe because I was walking like 13 miles of hills a day and I had never done that. And then that took a long time to heal. And then I was doing Muay Thai and I kicked somebody in the knee with my toe and it
Mm,
brought it all back. And now I've been trying to recover for like 3 years and I finally I bought some stuff to take care of it. So
Muay Thai. Yeah, that probably did it. I remember you took me to Muay Thai once, and it was a
it was
Saturday
fun.
morning, and I'm used to just sleeping in and relaxing. And this Saturday morning, I took you up on advice to just get pounded and kicked in the stomach for hours on a Saturday morning, and just whooped my ass. And I never went back because I'm like, I like my Saturday morning to be in bed, put on the TV, drink some coffee, eat some pancakes, and on that Saturday morning, I could never put myself through that again. I'm just like, nope.
Do
But
you
that's
know what I
probably what
remember
did it
about
to your
that?
toe.
You just brought back a memory. I, whenever we have an activity, w- we have like a little discussion and we'll joke around and have some fun. And I remember there was a moment we were training and you were kind of wanting to joke around and have some fun, but it was one of those serious moments where they're like, "Okay, go, 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 go," and you start. I saw it dawn on your face. You're like, "Oh, this isn't a relaxing exercise, is it? This is a. I'm gonna be tired in a minute."
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was tired. I was like kind of enjoying the hangout time part of it. We're kind of,
Yeah.
hanging out. We're doing some punching on some mats and, some light. I would call it, if I was to compare it to a sexual encounter, I would call it a nice missionary relaxing time. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, it turned into gangbang and and just getting beat up too badly.
Exhausting.
So that's how I would compare my Thai to a sexual experience, if that makes sense.
It was a rough one.
How would you compare it if you had to give it a metaphor?
That's pretty accurate. How'd this guy get behind me? Why is he hitting me like that? It's not a fun time if you're new.
But do you think that that contributed to your toe because you do barefoot kicks, right? Or were we wearing shoes? I don't remember.
No, you're barefoot. So what? The tendonitis pulled my toe kind of like that a little bit, and then you get up on your toes a lot for the kicks, and then I hit somebody right in the knee with the toe, and I jammed my toe so hard that it just messed it up really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, you still got to go to Thailand and do Muay Thai if you still love Muay Thai because it's pretty awesome there. When we were there, every morning, at one of the Airbnbs we stayed, there would be like a pickup truck and then a guy with a megaphone in the back, and he would be like, "Fight tonight, 8 p.m." And then he would go up and down the street all day. Every day there would be a fight, and he'd be announcing the
Yeah.
fights. So you'd still need to do your Thailand trip.
I want to get good at Muay Thai and then go to Thailand. And then they have these bars where you can fight other foreigners for free beer. Have you seen
Yeah.
those?
No, I haven't.
I want to
That sounds fun though.
yeah, so you
It's a
put
good
on all
combo.
this stuff. You have an actual fight for free beer. And I want to do it one time with another foreigner.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do it against the Thai guy because they will put a whooping on me. But
Oh yeah. Well, I think with Muay Thai, like you can probably join a great Muay Thai gym and get classes for way less in Thailand than you can in the US. So it seems like the place
oh
to
yeah,
get good at Muay Thai is just like if you have an income that doesn't require you to, go into an office, even if it's a low income in the US, should be more than enough to be like, I'm gonna go to my Thailand for 2 months, Muay Thai, get good at it, and then I'm gonna go to that bar.
yeah, I'd love to do that. It's just that's a huge time commitment, and you're
Yeah. Which brings me to our next sponsor of politics. So we were sponsored by a political candidate, and we're happy to have the sponsor. So just make sure that you keep politics. Order a copy of a book, a political book or something like that. Use our code Talk That Shiet
Mhm.
politics, and you'll get 10% off your next order.
Yeah, 15 if you say it twice.
And that was a big one that we brought in. We brought in uh, those boys today, and couldn't be more happy about that partnership.
Yeah, really enjoyable, family friendly. Talk about it at dinner. People love it.
Exactly. And make sure you mention Talk That Shit.
Yeah.
Um, what else? What should we? Let's think of one more little topic before we wrap up. What
Uh,
what's been going on in your life that you think is interesting?
Let me think.
It's a new development.
I wouldn't say it's a new development, but this is something that I think might help a lot of people. Uh, I've been developing a new mindset. I've been working on it for a while, but it's finally starting to settle in, I would say.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the process of things more.
Hmm.
My company's not super successful. My health isn't always exactly where I want it. My fitness isn't exactly where I want it. My financial situation, maybe I don't have the land I want or whatever it is. But I'm enjoying the process more because how many more times do you get to go through this life? Uh, if religion's right, probably not many. If Buddhists are right, maybe you get some more chances. But I'm trying to enjoy the process more. So
Yeah.
I'm decorating the place I live a little bit more. I'm decorating my life a little bit more. I'm going on a little bit more trips, things like that.
Yeah. That's a good mindset. I think that's kind of the mindset that started our, travels, our full-time travels in Asia. It was
Mhm.
like we had a nice apartment in LA that was, you know, like $2,400 a month we were paying. And then we had all these nice like things, and that became kind of for a while what made me keep going to a job I hated every day was, oh, this can get me a new bar cart. This can get me a nicer, TV or chair or couch. And then what was really freeing is when we started to kind of live without those things, and we sold everything and we condensed everything into a couple of suitcases. And that's kind of when you mentioned, we only live once for most people, unless you have a really strong Buddhist or something that allows you to come back. I don't know. But for me, I don't think I'm going to come back as anything. So just got to make it count. And ever since we, have done that, I feel like the experiences are paying off way more than anything. And working a little bit less. I mean, I kind of have a luxury here that most people don't have, where we can work less and still have our money go farther. But, we still made that happen for ourselves. We could still be miserable at our old jobs, but that's kind of, that's a good mindset. And I think that is, a lot of people can relate to that. What made you think of that mindset, and what kind of inspired you to think that way?
So actually, you inspired me a lot because you guys were doing all this stuff with the Philippines. And I realized I wait around too much to make things happen. But also, this isn't exactly what inspired me, but it's something that helped me to get in the mindset. Social media makes you feel like things are ending tomorrow all the time. The climate's dying, there's plastic in everything, you're going to have cancer. Everything seems like the end of the world when you pay attention to social media.
Yeah.
And I started doing research, just looking at history and paying more attention to what's happened in the past. And I realized it's always been like this. There's always been a calamity that's coming. There's always been a ruling class that's taking advantage of the people at the bottom. Um, the countries have always been changing names and moving. It's not a new thing. It's been this way since we have written history. And you can either let social media take advantage of you and for clicks and views and make you feel like everything's ending, or you can make your life what you want to make it. So that's kind of what got me there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's smart. Thanks for listening to Talk That Shiet. Hope you enjoyed this very intellectual conversation. And we hope that your IQ has raised up a bit from this great content. Do you have any sign-off words for our millions, or I'll say maybe 1 or 2 listeners?
Yeah, I hope your IQ went up by the 3 guaranteed points. If not, Jake does have a fund that he keeps in escrow in case that guarantee falls through. He will pay you out.
Yep, exactly. And Jay is also, if you don't get that IQ bump that you were hoping for, Joshua also has a furniture business, and he will back it up with furniture with,
Yeah.
get you the discount that you need to compensate you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you want to do a plug for your furniture, or throw a discount code out there for the fans?
Yeah, sure. It's costthefoundry.com. If you just send a message to the chat saying that you came from the show, I'll personally give you 15% off. So
Nice. And that goes a long way. So we'll save that nugget for the end here, and people who listen 2 hours through to this podcast will get that to take advantage of that.
Yeah, you'll save a few $100.
Talk that shit. Talk that shit. Drop some knowledge on your ass. Talk that shit. Dive into generational knowledge. Drop some knowledge on your ass, bitch.